Welcome, everyone, to the DUB Success Series, where we cultivate your belief system for success. I am your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, and I want to know, do you believe? Do you?
Do you believe? I want to know. Do you? Do you believe? 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 I want to know. Do ya?
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Do You Believe Success Series with me, your host, Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner. You can tell I'm a little excited today. Well, I think I'm excited most of the days, but even more so when my favorite team wins. You know, I am a diehard Georgia Bulldog fan and super excited that they were able to pull off another victory and keep the momentum that they have going throughout the course of the season. But as I watched the game, it was something that was a little bit different than some of the other games that they've played thus far this year. They're currently, I think, 7-0 right now, undefeated. But today's game, they gave up the most amount of points that they gave up in the game. But more importantly, I watched them go tit for tat with the team. And as a matter of fact, the team of the Missouri Tigers. So shout out to the Missouri Tigers. My wife is actually from Missouri, so when Georgia plays Missouri, it's always a little extra motivation for me to want to see my team victorious. But they were going tit for tat. Georgia scored, Missouri scored. Georgia scored, Missouri scored. Georgia scored, Missouri scored. So they did this 3 times, and they put up 21 points. In the first half, a piece, 21 points. They scored 3 touchdowns. Now, one thing that I saw was that was the first time that I saw my favorite team dealing with some adversity on the field where everybody had to step up and everybody had to play their part. And I thought that was vital in this particular case because that's life. In life, we're all going to be faced with some adversity at some point. But the truth of the matter is, it's not about the adversity that you face. It's all about how you respond to the adversity. And how you respond to the adversity, and oftentimes, is the difference between being a champion and being second place. And remember, nobody remembers who came in second place unless you are like the Atlanta Falcons, another one of my I'll say favorite teams, because I am from Georgia, so I do believe in all things Georgia. So I'll say like the Atlanta Falcons. They played in the Super Bowl last year, and to the credit of the New England Patriots, they were down pretty big, 28-3 if I'm not mistaken, and came back and won the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. And that just goes to show that you are never out, and it's in the heart of a champion never quits. And it's not about the adversity that you face. It's all about how do you deal with that adversity. So when I look at, particularly college, these guys are not getting paid. A lot of these guys come from very adverse backgrounds. They're playing on TV in front of millions of people each week. They're not able to have a job. Many of them don't have money. Many of them have parents at home and siblings at home that are still struggling. And they have to go out here and perform on a high level, even though they're not being compensated for it. Now, the NFL, these guys, they are compensated for what they do, so they get paid very well. So obviously, there's a little different level of motivation that comes when you are playing for money and when you're playing for the love. But for the people, that's one thing I love about college. So for the people who may not have a whole bunch of money, who may not be in these situations that it's easy to get out of, sometimes it makes it a little bit harder for you to overcome that adversity and deal with some of the adverse situations that we are dealt. Then that's why I want to shout out to all of the college students, regardless of whether you're an athlete or not. I have a great deal of respect for those who are able to deal with that adversity, overcome it, and reach your goal. And not just, I'm going to go farther than that, not just college students, but anybody, because all of us are faced with some adversity. Just about every single day, we all face some adverse situation, but it's never about what happens to you. It's always about how you choose to deal with it, because you can have 2 people from the same neighborhood dealing with the same circumstances, the same situation, and one make it and one doesn't. And what I find out just through my astute observation, through my studies, that it's the people who learn how to deal with adversity are more likely to succeed than those who don't. So when you see someone who's going through something, which we all are going through it, it's not about what they're going through. It's about how they choose to deal with it. So I want you to think about this as it applies to you. When you go through your adversity, when you are faced with those things, when your back is against the wall and you dealing with all these issues and these problems, what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? Are you going to lay down and play dead? Or are you going to do whatever it takes to deal with that adversity, come back in a strong way, and make it happen? And I want to know, tell me, as a matter of fact, I want somebody to email me at motivation101@gmail.com. Still love that Gmail. And I want to know what is the biggest adversity that you had to deal with, to overcome, to succeed, and what was the lesson that you took away from overcoming that adversity? And I can tell you, I've been through quite a few different adversities throughout the course of my life that have defined me, who I am, and my mission. One being, being in relationships and having your heart broken. One being, watching my grandmother, who I had just had a conversation, and she gave me a life lesson that I still carry to this day. And we'll talk about that in another podcast. Watching her pass away, watching my grandfather take his last breath, watching one of my close friends who was assassinated get put in the body bag. So for me, there have been a lot of defining moments in my life. And unfortunately, a lot of them do deal with death or, something in that capacity. But every single one of those situations, every single one of those adversities taught me a very valuable lesson. So don't be afraid of your adversity and don't run away from it. Embrace it. My grandmother told me that things that man used for your bad, God will always turn around and use for your good. But a lot of times we miss that lesson because we are too caught up in what happened to us and who did us wrong and what shoulda, coulda, woulda happened. But the truth of the matter is, it's never about what happens to you. It's always about how you deal with it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I'm still excited, and watching college football, that always makes me think about overcoming adversity. Shout out to Arizona State University here in Phoenix, Arizona. They just pulled off a big, amazing win. They just beat a top 5 team the first time in 21 years. So that was great. Awesome for their program. They were able to overcome some adversities to make it happen. So I would just want to encourage anybody who's listening right now, whatever your adversity is, whatever you're dealing with, don't give up. Keep the faith. Keep striving and see what valuable lesson you can take away from that adversity. Because in every adverse situation, there is a diamond of there's a valuable lesson that you could take away from it. I was looking for a fancy analogy or something, but I don't have it right now. But I am still happy that my team pulled out the victory. So shout out to all of you college sports football fans out there in the world who may be listening right now. So may your team have a victorious run this season. Unless they're playing my team, then I hope you lose. Other than that, I want you to win, not only as a fan, but also in life. So continue to overcome those adversities, continue to strive towards greatness. And guess what? I'm going to be right back here in less than 24 hours. So if you need some motivation, some positivity, then you know exactly where to find it. Tune in to me right here on the Do You Believe Success series. And I will be picking back up with the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, as well as the 40-day Love Dare. So those of you who have been listening know that I'm in the midst of a 100-day podcast challenge where I will be uploading a new episode every single day for 100 days. And incorporated into that, I also established the Intimacy Challenge and using the 40-day Love Dare as a guide. On the weekends, I try to take off from the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership that I'm using as a guide for my leadership development, and also the 40-day Love Dare, because I want this to be a reflective moment. I want us to be able to look back on what we covered this week, continue to strive to do the things that we've already discussed, and then on Monday we'll reset and continue to progress forward. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for tuning in to another episode of the Do You Believe Success series, where we are here to cultivate your mindset and your belief system for success. I am Y. Nelson Thomas, your lifestyle strategy partner, also known as Hydrate the Motivator, Mr. Do You Believe himself. And as always, I want to leave you with one very profound question. Do you believe? Do you believe? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, see you here shortly. Yeah.